Hello, tech friends. Today, a Cassiopeia PDA, a nice little personal assistant from 2001. So 22, 23 years old. I mean, this is getting on a little bit, but look, we've got it in its original box. Let's see what they used to say about this thing. So, slim, compact design lets you take your PC data along wherever you go. Action control operation for one-hand access to your PIM data, PIM. Not sure what that is. Synchronized. It'll synchronize with Outlook, and it can store up to 8,000 contacts, 8,000 scheduled items, 1,500 memo items, 6,000 expense items. Obviously, wherever we've got expenses, we're targeting that business market. And it can run for 180 hours on just 2 AAA batteries, which is pretty impressive. Obviously, most of the time it's sort of off. So that 180 hours is kind of, active use. So that could last you several weeks. And then what else have we got here? Just some notes about some of the extra things. It's got a backlight on there, and you've got a nice little picture of the device as well. Cassiopeia, now that's a proper name for one of these things. It's got 4 megabytes of flash ROM. We're probably not going to get anywhere near filling that up today. And then on the back, imagine this in the shop, you'd have flipped this over to sort of see some of the different screens that it's got on there. Scheduler, memo, pop-up tools and things like that. And copying data to and from the device from a PC. Absolutely brilliant. Okay, let's see what we've got inside. This box has survived remarkably well. On their listing on eBay, it didn't even mention the box. So I think I've done pretty well here. Okay, so we've got the instruction manual, which is a bit of a thickie, that one. And so you might think it's in lots of different languages, but it's not. This is all the UK English language. So yeah, quite a big user guide, and tucked inside are some of the sort of advertising and warranty information that would have come with it. So this works with PC Sync, and we've got some free software that we can download. That website obviously doesn't exist anymore, and even on the Wayback Machine, trying to access it is very difficult. But I managed to find it, the equivalent of this enterprise software, which seems to do syncing pretty well. Then we've got our warranty card, or registration there, back to America, which I bet if you bought that in the UK and this particular version was only released in Europe, there's no way you're filling this out. You've got to stick a stamp on. Yeah, forget that. What are some of the things it says here? To help us understand our customers' lifestyles, please indicate the interests and activities in which you or your spouse enjoy participating on a regular basis. Avid book reading, fashion clothing, fine art, antiques, sailing. What else have we got on here? Science, new technology, self-improvement, casino gambling. Wow, entering sweepstakes. Brilliant. Now I'm sure they used all of that to really shape all their future products. And then that's our warranty certificate. And there's a little exclusive offer we've got there to work with other software that was popular at the time, the Lotus Suite, and some other things that I've never heard of. So that's all the paperwork. That's the device. Look at that. Now that's got a sort of protective cover on it, which is made of that rubber that is that perishes over time. So it's kind of got a slightly sticky feel to it, but it's still pretty decent. We'll obviously come to that in a moment. And then we've got the dock here. Let me just show you this dock. It's a serial connection there. That's pretty standard. And on here, it's sort of sprung loaded, and you might be able to see these 2 pins that push up as you pull it forward. Well, you can probably figure out how this is going to work. You stick it in, and then to release it, you pull it forward. That's pretty different, isn't it? I mean, you literally can just pull it out as well, but pull it forward. You're just leaving the house. Quick, grab your Cassiopeia. Okay, right. It's time to take a closer look at the device itself. Okay, let's take a little tour around the outside of this thing. What have we got on the top? Not very much. just the hinge for the flap and access to the stylus. There we go. On the bottom, we've got the little docking port there, the comms port. On the back, pop that off, and there's a couple of batteries in there, and a reset button. And then on this side, this is a sort of this is the rocker that it was referring to on the box cover. This sort of action control, it's sprung loaded up and down, and then you can press it in to actually do an action, so you can navigate menus and things like that. Okay, so we'll start with it being off, and then we'll switch it on just by pressing the screen. Just by simply pressing the screen. There we go. Okay, so this is our main menu, and this is pointing out the the individual applications on there. And then at the bottom, you've got the sort of standard way that PDAs like to have little shortcuts that are just completely fixed, where you've got the menu button there, which is, if you can see that, it's actually a picture of a knife and fork, a proper menu. Menu, and then we've got our scheduler, contacts, memo, quick memo, and then the menu bar on the far right there. This has got a backlight, as is said, on the front of the box, and you can just about see it there. It's sort of illuminated like an old wristwatch, and it doesn't last very long. If I put it on now, you'll see it'll switch off even if I'm using it. So it's sort of, just to quickly use it, I think, at night. Okay, right. Let's take a look at some of these applications then. So, scheduler, well, it's as you would expect. It's a calendar, but not just a calendar. This is its sort of default 1 month view, but you've got a few others here. So you've got 2 months, and then a nice 3 month view. That's pretty good. And then we've got weekly, starting on a Sunday, ending on a Saturday. And then we've got daily, and then you've got the timeline going across the top there. And then we've got the to-do list here, and we've got a reminder list as well. So let's go and add a new appointment. So let's say tomorrow, 3rd of July. If I double tap that there, I can press new at the top. You see, it's got a fairly sort of simple display to it. So this is 160 by 160 pixels, so there's not much to work with, but it manages to cram quite a lot onto the screen itself, which is very impressive. And so let's create a new schedule item, so like an appointment. It wants to know what time it is. Let's put the time in. We'll say 0900. Okay, and I think this is until, so if I change that to 10:00, okay, and then I press this next button, there we go, and it's asking if I want to set an alarm. No, not today, thank you. And then we pop in the actual description. Now, data entry on this isn't great. We've got a keyboard here which is fairly well spaced out, but we haven't got any character recognition. I can't use handwriting to actually input any of this information, so you've actually got to sort of tap it out. So let's see, we need to wash cat, just wash cat. That's all we're going to do. That's between 9 and 10 on the Sunday morning. That's when I like to wash my cat. And then we just save it there, data stored, and then it's in the calendar. So if I then look at the calendar days, we've got a mark here on the 3, which indicates that there's something in there. And here it is, washing the cat. Okay, should we add something on the to-do list as well? Why not? Okay, and this is how we do it. So you can actually categorize things and put dates and due dates and things like that. So let's just say it's for Monday. We need to probably, let's put in fish, cat, out of canal. Yeah, and so you can see it was sort of doing slight predictive text there, but it wasn't phenomenal at data entry. So let's save that as well. Okay, and then if we view to-do list, we can actually see the list, and we can mark these things off and say whether they're done or not. These are filters at the bottom, so I would only see completed tasks, or I can see the things that are in category A, B, or C. And when I created it, I could have set that. And if I tick it up the top there, then it disappears out of incomplete, and I can jump around backwards and forwards. So that's a pretty cool little to-do list there. And then we can set some reminders as well. So let's do that. And then we should do that for Tuesday, which will be the 5th. And can we set some description here? Yep. We should probably, after we've done all those things with the cat, let's phone the RSPCA. Okay, good. Next, save. All good. So there we go. So that's your basic sort of schedule functions, which is probably what you would spend most of the time doing if you had one of these. I think, if you committed to not using a paper diary anymore and you use one of these instead, then you're going to spend a lot of time in the scheduler. Right, what about contacts? Hey, we've already got one in here. This is one I made earlier. Andrea, here's a telephone number, 0181 811 8181. Parrots Are Us, that's the company. That's what that's called. And I can edit this one. Actually, I think maybe she called me and told me she doesn't work for them anymore. She works for Spanner Delight. Brilliant. But the phone number's the same. They've just had a change of occupation. That's what's happened there. Now look, just at the top here, we've got a couple of items. That's a clock. And I think that just sets, it kind of inputs today's actual date and time. It's like a timestamp. So obviously in this, in the contacts part, that's probably not very useful, but the schedule bit, that is quite useful. And then you've also got a calculator that is just sat there always in the background. So that's always handy to just have. It's kind of like a desktop application, like a toolbar almost. So anyway, let's save that one. Okay. And you can go back to the list, and obviously down here you've got the sort of jump to particular letters. So this is one of the things that you can use the action bit for. If I just pull it down, it will cycle through the letters, and if I push it up, it will go back through them. But if I actually push it in, it brings up the action menu, and it sort of, they're just, again, little shortcuts to say, okay, well, I want to look at what does my week look like. I can see it all in one go. So quite handy if you just want to, hold it like this and then use your thumb to select different options. Okay, let's see what else we've got. So we've seen the scheduler, we've seen contacts, memo. I mean, you've got to have a little, what's this? There's already a memo on here. Wings are dirty. Gosh, I must have been in some sort of fever dream when I wrote this particular memo. Let's delete all of that and put in a different one. Let's just say, be nice to animals. I think maybe that should have been the reminder that I set there. So we'll save that. Now, this is an unusual feature. So I'll show you this. If I go to the menu bar, and we've got edit in most of the different screens that you're in. You've got system, so you can change all the sort of main systems. We'll have a look at that in a minute. And then over here on option, we've got full screen, font, so which is just kind of changing between a couple of different fonts. In fact, I can show you that. Not a massive difference between the two. And then, let me just bring it up again. We've also got screen copy. So this is essentially taking a screenshot of what we're looking at here, and I can draw on it. So, I can point out that this has or hasn't been done. Let me just change this back to, and it's got quite a few different options to draw these things. And actually, if I go to list at the top here, I can see all the previous screenshots that I've done, some woeful attempts at spirals, and then I can, view these different things. So, I mean, that is what an unusual feature to have. Something back in 2001, a screen grab feature. I mean, I guess it can be handy to be able to go back and refer to images. So that is very cool. Very cool, I think. Right, back to the menu. Expenses. Right, let's see what we've got. Expenses. We need to create a new one, don't we? I think we've been out to dinner. let's have a look. So we'll put in the amount. It costs 50 British pounds. And then we've got a couple of drop-down menus here, which is quite a nice little feature. So we can select our different card that we're using. Well, let's use Diners Club. That probably doesn't get as much use. Maybe that's my special work one. And then you can select the different category there. So you can have mileage, fuel, parking, stuff like that, meals. Quite a handy way to keep track of all that sort of stuff. Okay, let's pop back into the menu. What's next? I know you're looking at this game one and you're curious. We'll get to it. Quick memo. Well, this is like memo, but you literally just write it out. So, you know, if I write this out here, buy milk, save. There we go. It's saved. And then if I go to list, it's ended up in the same list as all the screenshots that I've taken. But there's no like character recognition or anything like that. You know, you're really just scribbling this stuff down. But maybe it's, you know, a quick way to put in a telephone number or something of that ilk. Okay, here's something you don't see on a lot of these things: conversions. This is all for rates. So I've put in today's rate between the dollar, the GBP, and the yen, which have been stated here. So we've got $1 is the same as 89 pence. $1 is the same as 136 yen, and I haven't done the yen to for British pounds because who is ever going to use that? Right. So if I put in £100 into the dollars, and then I have to hit this button at the top here that says EXE, execute. And then it tells me the conversion. So there we go. You can see that £89 or 13,600 yen. I mean, that's a lot of yen, isn't it? That feels like a lot of yen to be carrying around. So that's quite handy to have that. And you can obviously set the rates and things. And while we're just looking at this one, I'll show you in the top right hand corner, you've always got this tools button, and that just shows your your pop-up tools, which shows us our nice clock here that we've got. And it, you know, you can set the alarm and things from there directly. Then you can jump to your world clock, so we can see what the time is in New York. What, 9:20? Come on, get up, you lazy people in New York. We can have a quick look at our schedule. And we can also bring up the calculator as well, because it's not available in every screen. It depends which one you're looking at. So again, very neat. And then, okay, here we go. This is what you're waiting for, right? This is the game. What do we got? We've got Solitaire in a strange orientation. Now this is tricky to use. I'm going to have to sort of actually look at it to use it. So I can drag cards around and things. That sort of works. But it's because it's such a small screen, it's not high resolution, it's actually quite difficult to see what you're doing. But they do make the process a little bit easier for you by highlighting where a card can go. So this is the 8 of hearts, and that's the 9 of clubs, is it? I think that's what it looks like. And if I start to drag it, you'll see it lights up the one that it can actually go on. Which I don't think it does in like the Microsoft versions of Solitaire. So I think that's pretty cool. But you're obviously not going to sit and watch me play this for the next 10 or 20 minutes because that'll be a disaster. Right, pop out to the menu, game. There's another card game in here. I wish it had a different kind of game entirely built in, but it's this kind of pyramid card game, which I don't know how to play, and it is referenced in the manual. And it does tell you how to play it. Here, for instance, game 2, how to play. Remove any 2 cards whose sum equals 13 from the bottom of the pile. A card at the bottom of the pile is one that does not have any cards on top of it. A king equals 13 by itself and can be removed without removing any of the cards. Oh, right. Okay, well, that is super clear. Right, let's give that a go. So, what's an ace worth then? Don't know. Right, okay, 6. And so what do I want here? No, wait. You have to use maths to do this? This seems a little unfair. Can I select more than one card? Oh, hey, I got rid of that. Queen and the ace. Is that the same there? Can I do that? Yes. Ah, what power. Okay. And I presume that you can do other... Oh no, can you select those cards? You can't. It has to be ones from the bottom row. So I guess you could just get stuck or whatever. Hey, I'm sure that game... I mean, Game 2 is a rubbish title for it. I'm sure it's got a more popular name. Spider Solitaire, is that what that one is? Who's to say? Okay, last bit on here then is this secrets function. And how this works is you've got to put in a password. So I've selected the incredibly secure hello as a password, capital H, all right. So it's got a level of security. And I've already preset that you get these little sort of icons on here. So now we're in sort of private mode. So if I click on the scheduler, we've got this little symbol in the top left hand corner. So I think that makes all the stuff private, and then I hit secret again and it disappears. Over time then it locks you out, and then you've got to go in and unlock it again. So yeah, you've got some secret contacts, maybe having an affair with your secretary in some foreign country somewhere, and you've got to keep the details of when you're meeting secret. Oh, you absolute swine, why would you do such a thing? Right, well, there we go. So that is our Casio PV-400Plus, just looking at it here. What about synchronizing though? We've created a few things, scheduler, all that stuff. Yeah, let's go and have a look on the Windows 98 laptop and see if we can synchronize this by popping it into the cradle. I'll just note here that when I do put it into the cradle, there's a big old start button here, which is going to trigger the synchronization. So we'll do that. Okay, here we are, Windows 98 desktop. This is now using a sort of capture device rather than looking at the actual laptop itself, but we'll see how the picture looks. So I might go back to just recording it, generally pointing a camera at it. Okay, so I'm going to stick in my Cassiopeia, as the old saying goes, and hit our start button. It's popped up on the screen. There we go. Enterprise Harmony 2002. That was a free software that it was talking about, and so now it's having a little chat with the system. So I previously had some that I was testing on there with different tasks and stuff like that, which I deleted before I started recording the video. So I'm going to say yes, it's fine to get rid of them. There's an item in the schedule that doesn't have a time in there, which it doesn't like, but I think it was an old one that I made as well. So let's see if that has worked. We'll fire up Outlook. And we'll pop into our calendar. And here's some previous entries from previous videos. What I'll say is this doesn't work if you have Microsoft Active Sync also installed on the computer, because I think it's just always looking at the serial port, and it's always trying to check and see if there's a device that's connected. So the Cassiopeia doesn't use that, and it gets a bit confused by it. So here we are. Oh, is Clippy popping up to say hello? He's checking to see what I'm up to. Well, I'll tell you, Clippy, don't worry. 9 a.m. washing the cat. That's on the 3rd, and then we had something in the to-do list, didn't we, on the 4th? So we'll pop over to the task list there. We fished the cat out of the canal on Monday. I hope you're making notes about this. And then we phoned the RSPCA on the 5th. Not a problem, okay? I don't think it carries anything across into notes. I'm not sure where the memos go. So maybe that's just on the device itself. But let's have a look in our contacts. Nora, remember her from a previous video? Let's check out Andrea. Here she is. She works at Spanner Delight. Brilliant. And it works both ways. So if I save something in here and then synchronize, it'll overwrite it. So, oh, maybe she's changed her job again. Maybe now she likes bicycles. Bicycles for ducks. Of course, we'll save that. And then if I press the start button on the device, it's going to try and synchronize that. And then the idea is it's going to pass the information back over. So there we are, the Casio Cassiopeia. This is like a very nice device. I would say the fact that it runs on two AAA batteries is brilliant. It doesn't have a proprietary battery, which means you can just change them as much as you like. And it's going to last for ages because, you know, it's not really doing very much. It's off and off. The light stays on, barely at all. So, you know, it could really, it could go on holiday with you. If you like to take your work with you. Probably the worst part is the data entry. If I, you know, this keyboard here is quite difficult to use. I mean, it's even trickier if you're doing a video while you're trying to use it, because my head's not directly over the top of it as I'm typing this stuff in. So maybe I'm making it look a bit more difficult. But we've got caps lock there, and we've got lots of symbols that you can put in. So you're pretty well catered for. It's just it's not a great typing experience. Sorry, Casio, but I think you could probably forgive it. So there we go, Casio Cassiopeia. Buy one, probably not today. Buy one in 2001 when it would have been much more relevant. Thanks for watching.